If you see a groundhog digging in your yard, your first instinct may be to get rid of it immediately. But before you trap it, poison it, or try to kill it, there is something you need to know. Because the groundhog you can see may not be the real problem. And if you remove it without understanding why it chose your property, you could leave behind everything that attracted it in the first place: food, shelter, soft soil, a protected space beneath a deck or shed. And sooner or later, another animal may simply take its place. But that is only the beginning. That small hole near the edge of your lawn may lead to a burrow far larger than you expect. It can extend underground with multiple entrances, chambers, and escape routes. And depending on where that burrow is located, the difference between harmless backyard visitor and expensive property problem can be just a few feet. So before deciding that the groundhog has to go, you need to understand what its presence is actually telling you. Because sometimes the smartest thing you can do is remove the animal, and sometimes the smartest thing you can do is absolutely nothing. Here is how to know the difference. Groundhogs, also called woodchucks, are large burrowing rodents found across much of the eastern and central United States and parts of Canada. They are members of the marmot family and are built for digging. With strong front legs and curved claws, they can move an impressive amount of soil and create burrows with multiple entrances, chambers, and escape routes. Around homes, that natural behavior can create conflict. A groundhog does not know the space beneath your porch is part of your property. It sees loose soil, shade, protection, and easy access to food. And this is where many homeowners make their first mistake. They focus on the animal instead of asking why the animal chose that exact place. Most yards attract groundhogs for 3 simple reasons: food, shelter, and cover. A vegetable garden can provide all the food a groundhog needs. Lettuce, beans, peas, squash, flowers, clover, and tender shoots are especially attractive. Fallen fruit can also become an easy meal. Then there is shelter. An open area beneath a deck, shed, porch, or outbuilding can offer protection from predators and bad weather. Finally, thick grass, weeds, brush, or dense landscaping can help the animal move between its burrow and feeding areas without crossing open ground. So if you remove one groundhog but leave all of those conditions unchanged, the yard may still be attractive to the next one. That is why the better question is not simply, how do I get rid of this groundhog? It is, what is my yard offering it? Once you know that, the solution becomes much clearer. Groundhogs are also more than destructive pests. In natural areas, their digging mixes and loosens soil, and abandoned burrows may later provide shelter for other wildlife. That does not mean you should encourage one beneath your deck. It simply means digging is normal groundhog behavior. The real problem is digging in the wrong place. A groundhog living near the far edge of a large yard may cause little or no trouble. A groundhog digging directly beside a foundation, retaining wall, concrete slab, porch, or shed deserves much more attention. Repeated excavation can remove and redistribute soil. In the wrong location, that can create voids or contribute to instability around a structure. So when you discover a groundhog, do not immediately chase it or block the hole. First, inspect the area from a safe distance. Look for the main burrow entrance. It often has disturbed soil or a noticeable mound nearby, because the animal pushes excavated dirt outward. There may also be secondary entrances that are much harder to see. Never put your hand inside a burrow, and do not allow a dog to enter one. Groundhogs usually prefer escape over confrontation, but a cornered wild animal can bite or scratch. Another common misunderstanding involves daytime activity. Groundhogs are normally active during the day, so seeing one eating in the morning or afternoon is not, by itself, a sign of rabies or serious illness. What matters is abnormal behavior. If a groundhog appears severely disoriented, repeatedly falls over, seems partly paralyzed, acts unusually aggressive without being provoked, or clearly cannot move normally, keep people and pets away, and contact local animal control or a wildlife professional. But a healthy groundhog calmly eating clover at noon is usually doing exactly what groundhogs do. For many homeowners, the biggest conflict is the garden. If garden damage is the only problem, you may not need to remove the animal at all. You may simply need to block its access to food. Groundhogs can climb and dig, so a short decorative fence is often not enough. A more effective barrier needs to account for both behaviors. Sturdy fencing should be high enough to discourage easy climbing, while the lower section should make digging underneath more difficult. Some homeowners extend fencing into the ground or create an outward-facing apron along the soil. The key idea is simple. Think about how the animal might go over or under the barrier. Next, reduce the cover that makes your yard feel safe. Keep tall grass, weeds, and dense vegetation under control around sheds, porches, and other structures. Clean up fallen fruit. Protect compost and garden waste. Avoid leaving brush piles or thick vegetation beside places where a groundhog could easily establish a burrow. The less food and cover your yard provides, the less rewarding it becomes. But what if the groundhog is already living underneath a structure? This is where timing becomes important. Do not simply seal a burrow entrance because you saw the animal outside. Another animal may still be inside, and during the season when young are present, dependent babies may be underground. Blocking the entrance at the wrong time can trap animals inside and turn a manageable problem into a much worse one. If a burrow is beneath your home, foundation, porch, or another important structure, professional wildlife assistance may be the safest option. And there are several things you should never do just because someone online claims they work. Do not pour gasoline into a burrow. Do not randomly use poisons. Do not throw mothballs into wildlife dens. Do not use dangerous smoke or chemical methods. And do not assume that flooding a burrow will solve the problem. These methods can harm pets, contaminate soil, create toxic or fire hazards, and may also be illegal where you live. They can create another problem too, an animal dying underground where you cannot easily reach it. Relocation may sound humane, but it is more complicated than it appears. A moved groundhog must suddenly find food, shelter, and safe territory in an unfamiliar place, and wildlife relocation is regulated in many areas. Before trying to capture or move one, check the rules where you live. But here is perhaps the most important thing to remember. Sometimes the best response is to leave the groundhog alone. If it is far from buildings, not damaging your garden, not creating a safety issue, and behaving normally, immediate removal may not be necessary. Not every wild animal in a backyard is an emergency. A groundhog eating vegetation near the far edge of your property is very different from one excavating soil beside your foundation. The animal is the same. The risk is not. And this is where many homeowners waste time, money, and effort. They react to seeing the animal instead of evaluating what it is actually doing. So when a groundhog appears, start with the yard. Where is the food? Where is the shelter? Where is the burrow? What is above or beside that burrow? And is the animal actually causing damage? Protect valuable plants. Remove easy food sources. Reduce dense cover around structures. Prevent access beneath decks and sheds when it can be done safely. Keep pets away from active burrows. And pay special attention to digging near foundations, walls, slabs, and other structures. Because killing the groundhog you see today may remove one animal. But if your yard still provides the same perfect combination of food, shelter, and protection, the invitation is still there. And nature is very good at finding open invitations. So the next time a groundhog appears at the edge of your lawn, do not immediately see an enemy. See a message. Your property is offering something. Figure out what that something is, and you will understand what to do next. Because the real solution is not always getting rid of the animal. Sometimes, it is making sure your yard stops giving it a reason to stay.